Well, hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to another edition of the FutureSox podcast. My name is Ian Eskridge. I am joined, as always, by Mr. James Fox. How are you, James? Are you doing well?
Good, man. How's it going?
Not too bad. So I'm just going to hop right into this because we have the Sun-Times Mark Gonzales. He's actually right now at the Fall Stars game out in Arizona, so I'm just going to hop in with him right now. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Can you hear us?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it. So you just had an article that you just popped out with Hagen Smith. Enjoyed the article. Oh, there he goes. And just like that. All right. Well, let's see if he pops back in. I don't know if he's going to. No, there he is. He's back. All right. There you are. All right. So you got us, Mark? You good?
I'm good.
All right. So you just dropped an article. You did an interview with Hagen Smith. And we just saw him. He went out and threw one inning for the AL Fall Stars. You want to go ahead and give people a little bit of a taste of the interview that you had with him?
Yeah, I was very impressed talking to him for the first time. He knows what he needs to work on, but at the same time, he's very confident in what he needs to work on. And I think the game I saw, he addressed some of the issues, and mainly he was very calm when he pitched. Didn't fly open quite a bit. The one thing I did notice is he didn't throw his changeup much. He only threw it one time, but the fastball and slider were working very, very well, and I think that bodes well because I think first of all he's got to throw strikes. I think we're all in agreement on that. The 56 walks during the regular season was extremely high, and I think down here he's able to work on a few things. I think the White Sox done a really good job of controlling his innings. You know, he's still starting, but the fact that it's a controlled setting, only throwing 3 innings at a time, he can work on certain things, and I think he's accomplished that to this point.
So, yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed as well is that even when, he's mentioning that he wants to throw his changeup more, we're still only seeing it about, 12% of the time, I think, during his games. So I know that that's one thing that he definitely wants to work on is get that third pitch going. You good, Mark? You got us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
You were talking about the third pitch.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on his performance? Because I don't know if the people that are listening right now saw him pitch tonight. So, your thoughts on his performance tonight?
Maybe he can't hear us. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, they said in the comments. They said in the comments he hit 98. Hagen did tonight.
I saw him hit 97. I didn't see the 98.
He was bringing the last few outings I've seen. He's been 95 to 97. So he's right there again. Because we all know his velocity dipped a little bit during the regular season, but it seems he's gotten it back.
Yeah, it was interesting. I kind of like seeing the piece that you wrote. It was I've always enjoyed Mark Gonzales' perspective when he was writing here in Chicago, full time. Now he's out in Arizona writing for Grand Canyon, I believe. So I saw the byline, Mark Gonzales writing about Hagen Smith, and these are the types of things that, he had done previously. So I was just, happy to see him doing that. So, Mark, while we have you, the 2 position players, Braden Montgomery, Sam Antonacci, just quick thoughts on those 2 guys.
Did you get that, Mark?
Oh, you were talking about Braden Montgomery and Sam Antonacci?
Yeah. You have thoughts on them real quick?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Montgomery, the tools are definitely there. I think this is a good forum for him to kind of polish up on a few things, mostly the chase rate, identifying pitches, and being selective needs to be. I think it's just important for him to get at bats at this point. The arm is there. The outfield arm is there, but I think there's little things that he can address, work on, but he's not far off. I don't think he'll start the season with a big club. He's got some at bats to go, some work to do on both sides, but I think he could be up certainly maybe around the All-Star break. Atanachi is a guy that just grows on you. I really like him a lot. I'm not saying he's going to be the starting second baseman, but he's a guy that you can see him being at the bigs at some point because he's a very smart player. There's a lot of comparisons in my draft in terms of his baseball acumen. I think the one thing that really I like about this guy is not only he's got a good eye at the plate, but he's also got the speed. I think just tightening up his base running a bit would help him, get to that 90% success steal rate. But he's a guy that just grows on you, and I think he'll find a place on a big league roster somewhere someday.
So as far as so you're out here in the AFL, who are the best players that you've seen while you've been out there?
I haven't seen many guys, but this guy Enrique Bradfield from the Orioles organization, I believe he played at Vanderbilt. Certainly got some skills to jump off. Guy from the Pirates, Valdez, big time player. A couple guys that I saw from the Nats organization. They might not be guys that wow you too much, but they could be their Seaver King, an infielder, and the guy Burnett. I think his name's Burnett, big lefty from the Nats. Got a high ERA down here, but he's got a big time arm. And in case of a lot of guys down here, they're coming off injuries. They're getting innings, getting at bats down here. It's a good place for them right now. A lot of teams don't send their big time guys like they used to. I've been down here following this league since 1992, and I remember at first people were sending their top prospects. That's not the case anymore. See more guys being protected, especially the pitchers. But you definitely see your share of talented players down here.
So just to wrap things up here real quick, you want to tell people what you've been up to and how much, you just mentioned how much baseball you've been checking out there for the AFL, but you want to let people know what you've been up to?
Well, my main job's working at Grand Canyon, senior writer, covering Colangelo College of Business, College of Theology. But as you know, down here, there's plenty of baseball. So been given the opportunity living down here to follow a lot of the amateur stuff. We have a lot of travel ball teams that come down here, keep an eye on guys. And then the beauty of being down here during the February and March months is college baseball. I think that's important, especially with the White Sox potentially having the first pick in the draft. There's some guys that might shoot through here. It's kind of interesting that Rock Shalowski's been considered as a top pick. I covered Rock's dad in high school, so I have an association, somewhat familiarity with the guy. He plays at UCLA, a big-time talent. So I hope to catch up and watch him at some point. If not, reintroduce myself to his father.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Mark. We're going to let you go, let you enjoy the rest of the Fall Star game tonight. We really appreciate your time, and we hope to catch up at some point here in the near future.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, so it was interesting, like this week when I saw like on Twitter or whatever, and it was like something on Hagen Smith, like written by Mark Gonzales, is basically what I was gonna say. Because I mean, he was the White Sox beat writer for a long time, and then he kind of switched beats and was the Cubs beat writer. But he's just like always had really interesting draft stories because I think he just like understands the scouting process. Like I think even more so than like a lot of beat writers typically do. So I was kind of sad when he was like Arizona full time, but it's good for him. So.
There we go. I had to, unfortunately, I had to.
Was he trying to hop back in? Yeah.
No, he wasn't trying. It just, it's, I just wanted, I had it in my ear because he wasn't muted, so
Oh,
it's
gotcha.
just like, shh.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Anyway, so yeah, so I think the AL still up. Are they still up 1-0? I think so. Anyway, hello everybody. Good to see you guys. Thanks for hopping in tonight. Just wanted to get a little perspective there from Mark. It was nice of him to come on. We appreciate him. So we got some good at bats from the guys on the White Sox in the Fall Stars game. That's a lot of fun. Hagen pitched 1 inning, allowed the first guy he saw walked, then he allowed a single, but then he managed to get a ground out to third base and then 2 Ks. So scoreless inning for him. So that's awesome to see. And as mentioned, he hit 97, 98 miles an hour. I don't know if they're rounding up on their gun because usually hits like 97.6, something like that. So, but yeah, as also mentioned in the comments here, Antonacci's on his way up soon. He grounded out and moved Blake Mitchell over to third base earlier. So good stuff.
Yeah, these guys also they talked to the media this week. Hagen was interesting. It seems like he's not totally satisfied with his season. How could he be, right? With just like all the walks and some of the struggles, but it does seem like they put a solid plan in place where he at least feels like there's like a path forward where he kind of fixed like some of the issues and he seems as confident as ever. I just we'll see. I think it's one of the interesting storylines like next year, like how much minor league time they feel like Hagen Smith needs. I know, we've discussed this all year. I'm of the mind that like I don't know how much the third pitch is going to get developed if he's pitching in the minors, but others disagree and that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is still kind of a fast track situation despite even like some of the issues potentially.
Yeah, for sure. As mentioned in the comments, Adrian White said he liked the Hagen work through the jam, which was awesome. Also, Carrie says that she feels like this is the best that the Sox guys have looked in the AFL, which I'm kind of have to agree with as a whole, as far as the entire roster of guys that they sent out there. I mean, we did have the Adam Engel MVP year, so
Yes.
there's that.
Yeah,
But
and Robert was awesome there one time too.
he
for
had
like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, he had a couple of he did pretty well. I'd say as far as overall though, I'd say that this is probably the best that they've looked, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
and Noah was supposed to be there, so that would have been crazy.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, Caden Connors looked great as well. Bunch of I think Caden Connors really impressed out there, in my opinion, especially seeing the pitching that they're seeing. I feel like he's kind of bumped himself up a little bit amongst like people who have their eyes on the
Yeah.
White Sox system.
Well, and the Desert Dogs should be grateful that the White Sox sent representation.
And there's the Sam Antonacci hit by pitch.
Yeah, of course. So they talked about Sam Antonacci briefly on the Carlos Collazo Ben Badler Baseball America podcast because there was like another prospect they were talking about who got hit all the time, and then it prompted them to look up like your hit by pitch leaders in the minor leagues, and I think Antonacci was second, I believe.
Yeah, that guy gets hit all the time. Like the other day, I think he got hit twice in one game. I mean, he's probably got like a solid like 7-8 hit by pitches in the
It is a skill though, I think, like getting hit by pitches.
Yeah, I mean, there's the you stand there and kind of wait for it to hit you for some of them, but there's a weird thing where certain guys just always seem to get hit regardless of whether they're it's not like the World Series where a dude was sticking his elbow out into out over the plate.
Right, yeah.
Not like that at all. So do you want to hop into the coaches? What do you want to hop into next?
We could do that first. I mean, that was like the bit of news this week that we were kind of waiting for. It was a little bit interesting because James Fegan of Sox Machine kind of they talked about it on their podcast last week. Like it's like, oh yeah, they're ready to like name coaches and they've like been in the building or whatever, and then it like didn't leak. It was like very strange. So then, I guess once we saw the names, it's like, oh well, that's why. Like it's both guys seem fine, right? But they're not like super household names where anybody really like knew, like until they were announced.
Yeah, it was when I saw the names, like, I just put out a tweet with you know, a thinking emoji. Um and it wasn't necessarily that, I didn't understand the hires, because if you look at these guys' qualifications and the kind of things that they do, it totally makes sense with who they're working with. I find it very normal, because you have a pitching coach who's coming in, who's biomechanics and analytics and is a pitch grip guy, fits perfect with Bannister. And then you've got a hitting guy who is analytics and swing decisions. Makes total sense. So I thought the hires were at least have the potential to be very good. And on a personal level, these guys seem like awesome human beings, which is another thing that I like. I like for my coaches to be good people as well,
Yeah.
if
Well,
they
and
can get the job done.
it seems like with Derek Showman, like like I don't know. I don't think it matters that he like grew up a Sox fan, but that part's cool that he's like from here. It's also like the type of guy that gets hired now. Like it's not a ton of experience, right? But like it doesn't matter anymore. Like you don't need 25 years of being a hitting coach at like 5 different stops to like get hired as a hitting coach anymore. It's like can you help players? Can you disseminate information and like make the players understand like this stuff and like make them better? And he seems to have had a history of that. They really cited Stowers, right? Kyle Stowers in Miami is somebody that he specifically like really helped. I mean, the Sox made it a point to put it in their press release, like, oh, he oversaw Kyle Stowers as the assistant hitting coach. So yeah, I mean, look, these are like I think we kind of speculated that it was going to be Will Venable getting his guys, but it really doesn't seem like that's what happened. It seems like they actually went through an interview process and hired the two guys that fit best with their director of pitching and director of hitting.
Yeah, I mean, that's what and Will Venable said in their press conference, said that it wasn't about him getting his guys per se. It's like kind of like a collaborative effort, which has been the echoed sentiment out of White
Synergy.
Sox front
Yes.
office. Synergy, that's the thing, is that everybody's working towards a common goal. And you know, I, it's early to say, but I mean, it kind of seems like they're making rational decisions here, which is something that we haven't necessarily seen out of the White Sox leading up to this point.
Well, it sounds like there was like an interview process, right? This wasn't like, Will Venable promised some guy that he's known forever. Like when he got a big league job, you're going to be my hitting coach. That like
Yeah,
wasn't what this was like at all.
yeah,
And honestly, like if it was that, I would have been like, okay, like Will got his guy, like that's fine, right? But it's like clearly not what they've done. I mean, Chris Getz has, and we'll see if it works, right? But he's continued to kind of run things like an outside hire, even though he was like another one of these, like insular internal hires.
yeah. In the Fall Stars game, Ale just had the bases loaded, and Kevin McGonigal, the number 2 prospect in baseball, lined out to the right field, leaves the bases loaded. So the good thing is that him being a Tigers prospect, and seeing that obviously he's a bust,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Kevin
but
McGonigal, pretty good, I think.
yeah, not bad at all. I'm not
Selected,
looking forward to seeing him.
selected after Jacob Gonzalez, by the way.
You just have to do that,
I
huh?
do, yeah. Well, sorry. He was
um,
he was seen as like one of these super ultra like hittery types who's like a second base only. And I think he's playing shortstop in the
he
minors
is.
and he's
Yeah.
like destroying the ball. So like it's hard to project high school guys.
Yep. Kind of aggravating. So one thing that kind of went under the radar here, it was mentioned in the press releases here, but Matt Wise is sticking around as the bullpen coach.
Yeah, and
So they
the
did not get rid of him.
assistant hitting coach is staying too.
Yeah. So I mean, there are a couple of things going on that are that are kind of
Yeah.
status quo for a couple of the areas. So
Well, and they
that's
still need what
interesting.
they need first base. Is that it though? Unless they add some other sort of like role of some kind.
Which one's
Right.
this?
Just in the big league. I mean, the only thing they haven't announced is first base coach, right? And my assumption is that that's going to be Grady Sizemore. But unless they're hiring like different quality control coaches or an offensive coordinator or some other field coordinator guy, something like I feel like first base coach is it, right? That's going to get announced, and then that's the staff unless they add somewhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they added another coach in there somewhere. I don't know where, but I would not be surprised if they brought somebody in that's kind of um, not Grady Sizemore, but in that kind of vein where it's like a guy that they're trying to bring into the organization that they think has some qualifications to be good in a clubhouse. I don't know. We'll see, but yeah, there's a couple of things going. No, one thing that Adrian brings up here and that we haven't heard anything about is the AAA manager. They let Sergio Santos walk, but we don't know who's taking that position over. I'm kind of interested to see where that ends up.
Yeah, it is curious. I don't know. Do they just like promote up and have Kiros, and then you just like move guys up and then hire somebody new for Kannapolis? Um, or do they just hire somebody to go to AAA? Like I'm not really sure what they want to do there.
That's a that is a good that is a good question because I mean it wouldn't if that's what they did, if they just bumped everybody up a level, I would have to say I would be okay with it with Pat Leland
Right.
moving up. Um, but I feel like Pinder still needs time personally. Not that he did anything wrong. I just personally I would like for him to get a little bit more experience just so he gets some more games under his belt, just a season or two, before he starts moving up.
Yeah, and
And
everybody looks at things differently too. I think there's a question of like how important the AAA manager is compared to the other managers.
yeah, and like one thing that I've had conversations is that when you look at the overall product of what came out of Charlotte and how Charlotte performed as a team, I don't think any of that was on Sergio Santos at all. So, I mean, at that point, if you've got somebody giving marching orders on who should be playing, which is my guess at this point, is that you know, uh Barfield and Getz and crew are kind of laying the groundwork there and saying this is who should be playing every day. Yeah, you're allowed to make, gut decisions here and there, but I would assume that they're probably getting, standard marching orders and who's going to pitch what innings. These are the guys who are going to pitch today. They do best in these situations, and that's who's going to go. So do they kind of take some of the control out of that AAA manager's hands?
Yeah, I don't know. It also seems like if you want to keep like changing out managers, I just like feel like they don't want to do that, right? So like maybe you find somebody who's like totally fine just like living in Charlotte forever and being the AAA manager, because like lots of guys take that job so that they can get like promoted to the big leagues, and I just like don't know that the White Sox have those opportunities available. Like I mean it's one of the reasons why Sergio's not here.
That is my entire guess as to why he's not here, is that there's just um not a path to being a manager in the major leagues with the White Sox at this foreseen moment. I just don't see that they think that Venable's not going to be here for a while.
Right. And like I don't know, like do they think that Pat Leland you could jump everybody and go to that role? Do they feel like he needs to kind of go level by level? I don't know. I don't really know what Paul Janish is thinking at this point. I mean, they've changed out lots of staff. The other like curious thing that came out is Sherman Johnson, right?
Hmm.
Is the minor league hitting coordinator. That
Yeah.
was Alan Zinter's role. So I'll be curious to see if like Zinter is reassigned or if they'll have both of them somehow. Um, I think that's I think that's interesting too.
Maybe he manages a AAA club. I mean,
That's what I mean. Like, yeah,
who
right. Like,
knows?
does he become a hitting coach and didn't really love the coordinator role? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. As Jamie points out, AAA manager has to be good on promotion videos. Sergio excelled at that. Absolutely excelled. Adrian says Phil Nevin want a AAA manage. I don't. I mean, you never know. If he doesn't have another job, he might be looking for something.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There was something else that I had seen. Oh, yeah, we'll get to that whole thing. Somebody brought up the Emmanuel Clase thing, and we're definitely gonna have to mention that at least here.
Yeah, we got to bring it up at least, but we don't have to do it right now.
Yeah, let's do that a little bit farther down the line here when we get
What
to
else
some of
was
this
in
other
here
stuff.
that we can get into? So like lots
Luis
of
Robert.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so we can do that and then strange managerial hires and front office hires so we can talk about too.
Yeah, there's some of that. So, as we have been talking about for months in here, the White Sox do in fact pick up Luis Roberts' $20 million option. Show me your face of shock and amazement, James.
Well, I mean, I kind of like we talked about this. Like as soon as they didn't deal him, this is what was going to happen. And then people still kind of acted surprised. I will say like I'm pessimistic as far as like what else they'll do if he's actually on the team because it doesn't sound like they're going to spend very much money. So, like I don't know if that means like since Robert's on the team, like it's just going to be all kids and Robert. I'm not really sure. I don't know how this is going to go, but like the way that Chris Getz is talking, like it doesn't sound great as far as like the spending portion of the offseason.
Yeah, no, we have watched the entire Chris Getz press conference. I don't know how many of the people that are listening / watching here have watched it, but yeah, there's the big quote that's been going around that everybody's complaining about that says that he's not going to spend, that they are interpreting it as he's not going to spend any money. And I would have to concur that I also think it sounds like they're not going to spend a whole lot of money. I would imagine that you are looking at supplanting the major league roster with some filler guys from the minors. Do you see some of the guys that came up late last year possibly with them? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to spend like a little, right? Like you'll have new players. I just don't know. Yeah, like Mike Talkman is gonna make like 3 million plus probably. I don't know if you can have Talkman and Benintendi as we've kind of talked about. Like like I've seen the name what Mike Yastrzemski thrown around. Bruce Levine brought up Reese Hoskins this weekend. Like if those are the two moves on offense, like that's actually like I think that's like fine. Like if you want to get guys as placeholders like that before you spend. Because like look, like they don't have a ton of spot. Like first base DH and like one outfield spot. I mean, your infield is going to be kids playing. So like I get that where there's like not a ton of space, but I mean, if there's a guy you like, I just like don't really agree that you should just like wait. Like, I mean, they're not spending on anything. So that's the part that frustrates fans. It's like, okay, you can just go sign this guy now. Like you don't have to wait until it's like time to win, but it doesn't seem like that's like part of the forecast here. And then I do think they have to add like 2 veteran relievers. I think that happens. Like that could be, just like a couple of guys that are like 1 year 7 million with an option, like that sort of thing, like one righty, one lefty, something like that.
Yeah. I did see the Reese Hoskins thing as well. I know that like Elijah and Jeff were talking on not Elijah and Jeff, Elijah and Sean Anderson were talking on the CHGO podcast about Josh Bell, and I would find that preferable to a Reese Hoskins just because, to me, Reese Hoskins over the last couple of years has looked like an extra on The Walking Dead. If his leg's not completely falling off, he's still limping and very slow.
Yeah, so he
and
was hurt last year, right? That's
He's
when
been
they got
injured. Yeah, he's
Vaughn.
been
Yeah.
injured for 2 years now, and he's just not looked good. And it just to me, personally, it looks like it would be a waste of money. Um, I mean, you haven't seen any production out of him for a couple of years, so to me, it just seems like it would be wasted money.
Yeah, but he's a Ryan Fuller bounce back candidate.
Yeah,
Sure, right? Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
just personally rather go in another
I think
direction.
the
But
next like small order of business, I guess, would be like just seeing what they do with Mike Talkman. I know he probably wants to stay because he's local, and I just he can't really run anymore. And he was like pretty good last year. I think he can still hit. I just if you're gonna be forced to play Benintendi some in left field because you're gonna have two young catchers on your team, that kind of forces you to play Mike Talkman in right field, and I just don't know how great of an idea that is right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Talkman was traded somewhere and then that team tendered him. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like these are the types of names. I know they're not super exciting. The thing that's exciting is, the young core that they're kind of building, and then you wait for Braden Montgomery and Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz and Sam Antonacci to come up this year, that sort of thing.
oh man, yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where the off season has literally just started. We have to see what the White Sox are going. Did you actually know what the actual date for the arbitration numbers are? I can't remember.
I believe so. I think so. In the article that I wrote last week, where I kind of went over like all the Rule 5 stuff, I think I put it in there. So I'm gonna look right now
Well,
while
I mean,
we're doing this.
that's a perfect
It's-
transition, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's something. It's something like the week of the 19th, I think, in November. It's soon.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense that it would go right along with the Rule 5 guys, which I believe is November 20th.
Yeah, so then I think the non-tender deadline's actually later than that, but which is fine. It's not much later.
Okay.
It's before the winter meetings, so we'll know like fairly soon, basically.
November 18th is what James is saying.
Is the
I don't know.
non-tender deadline?
Yeah, it might be.
Okay, cool.
I'd have to look.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really, they have to tender contracts for him, for Steven Wilson, and then Derek Hill, I believe. So those are the three guys that they basically have to make decisions on. Everybody else is under contract.
So I know that we had this conversation with Beef last week. Beef had mentioned that you don't pick up a Derek Hill that late in the year and then keep him on and let him walk before spring training.
Yeah, so he thinks he's like part of the mix, right?
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know that you have enough roster spots to do that. I just think it's a matter of like they don't need to do it yet, so they won't, basically.
yeah, I could see that. I could see them putting it off until they absolutely have to make the decision. Which
Yeah, I mean,
actually,
if they
you
had
find
5
out
guys,
if Robert's
you know.
injured in
Right.
spring training, you need to have somebody that can play center field. Other than
Well, and
Braden
I don't know.
Montgomery.
I don't know if he's ever been outrighted before. I wonder if they try to get to a point where they like DFA him and hope that they can keep him in the org, like on a minor league deal somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So do you want to move to your mentioned Rule 5 article here?
Yeah, sure. I like the Rule 5 part is the most interesting part of it. Like I kind of like to lay out the roster and just be, the roster's at 35 right now, and kind of just like the machinations of like, these guys left as free agents, they tendered these guys, this is their roster, that sort of thing. But I mean, there are quite a few names who they at least have to consider protecting for Rule 5. I think there will be a couple where we're like, oh man, like, and then we're worried that they're going to get taken, and then it'll probably ultimately be fine. I mean, I think there's one lock in Tanner, obviously, Tanner McDougal. But after that, like I'm not that sure on what they're going to do. I think there's a guy who I feel the second most confident in based off of like the way they're talking. And I
Shane
wonder,
Murphy?
yes, yeah. Like I feel like Shane Murphy's going to get added, because I feel like they wouldn't. This is going to sound bad. but because I like Shane Murphy a lot. But like, first thing I thought of is like wasted breath. But like, that's not what they're doing. Like, they spend a lot of time talking about Shane Murphy. They had him as minor league pitcher of the month. Like, he talked to the media. Like, they don't typically do that. Like, if they're not going to protect a guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also know that if somebody like Colorado or somebody like trying to think
Yeah, the
of who.
Nationals.
Yeah, the Nationals. That's somebody that you know that you could throw out there every 5 days. You'd get 5 or 6 innings. He would be competent. You might,
Yeah, it
you
might
know,
be a
he would
5 ERA, but it doesn't matter.
exactly. He's a guy like that could possibly help out. Like, I mean, he could probably help out like 50% of the staffs across Major League Baseball, really, because he can eat innings and he doesn't have to throw, 1,000 miles an hour. And, he's hopefully through any arm troubles that he's ever going to have. You hope,
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the other one, like, I can't see them like playing with fire with Mason Adams either. Like, I kind of feel like they'll add him and then they'll just 60-day DL him like as soon as they're able to. The guy for me, the really questionable one is Peyton Pillette. Like, I would add him because their bullpen's bad and like I think Peyton Pillette's pretty good. But if they don't, like, I'm not going to be totally surprised.
Yeah.
And then
I
honestly,
mean,
if they added anyone other than those four, I'll be a little surprised.
yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that that's probably the guys that I would think are probably most likely to go. And um, obviously, if Mason Adams is left off, I'm gonna be sweating bullets until that draft's over. Personally,
Yeah.
and I don't see any way that Shane Murphy or Tanner get left off. I feel like um, the time allotment that you're going to have to use Mason Adams to pick him in the draft, the injuries, I don't think it's going to provide enough time for somebody to be able to keep him on the roster for long enough.
Right. I could see somebody liking him and taking him though. I mean, he's the type of guy. I mean, he's like Shane Smith. It's like very similar.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and then obviously, like, you have like relief. Like, I think the Baseball America, like, somebody brought up Gerald Rosado. I mean, that's fine. Like, if that were to happen, nobody's taking Samuel
Absolutely.
Zavala.
Absolutely.
I guess
not.
one of the questions, like, Aldrin Bautista is like got a ton of upside. Can you stash him in a bad bullpen? Maybe, but teams like haven't typically done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Rosado.
Yeah.
I would. Stranger things have happened.
Yes.
With the White Sox protecting people on the 40-man. But if I was going to protect anybody, he would probably be one of the last ones that I would protect. Just
Baseball
throwing
asked,
that
is there any way we pick a position player, not a pitcher? I'd be really surprised if it's not a pitcher.
I would also be very, very surprised.
Because I just don't know that a position player makes the team. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like you saw last year, you had Gage Workman. Like the only one that actually had a fairly decent year was that the guy that we talked about just the other day that we were talking about before the season, that power hitter out of Tampa.
Oh yeah, Bob Seymour.
Bob Seymour.
Yeah, and they just DFA'd him.
So I
So
mean,
the
you
White
can
Sox
get him
could
again.
claim him and have all the Rule 5 guys. But I mean, he's
Yep.
really like, he's like lefty Tim Elko, right? I mean, it's very similar. Maybe higher OBP, but like that's what it is. It's mid to late 20s guy with power, but he hits from the left side instead of the right.
Baseball's asking who we ended up protecting last year. I'm trying to remember.
Not many. There weren't many.
wasn't.
There weren't many guys that they needed to protect last year. They protected
Yeah.
Colson Montgomery, and then there were there was like a couple others too. But it wasn't like this year where, you could actually be like sweating a couple of guys potentially.
Yeah. So this is one, and I've gone back and forth about this one. I feel like Tyler Schweitzer could really help a team. I just don't know if that team's going to be the White Sox.
Yeah, and I also don't know that a team like I don't know what role a team would take him to use him in. Like what I mean, his stuff's gonna really play up in like a relief role if that's like something that somebody wants to do. But I also think he's like on a rebuilding team, like there's no reason to not let him try to start, right? So my guess is if the White Sox don't protect Tyler Schweitzer, they're pretty confident that nobody's gonna take him because I don't think they want to lose him for nothing. Um, these weird things like this happen, and they just like teams kind of know like the guys that are going to get taken, and not taken. I feel like, but you know, I don't know. Certain things like the Brewers made the decision to not keep Shane Smith, right? Like some teams are just like loaded and you can't keep everybody. The White Sox are not like that right now, so they could basically keep whoever they want.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of pitchers got yanked off of their roster. Like that would be like the least surprising thing for me. But we've talked about this for quite a while. Is that eventually, you have too many guys. That's just kind of the way it goes, and like they have way too much pitching in the high minors, like that's moved to the high minors to be able to protect it all. It's just
Right? Yeah. It's
it's
this
not
happens to
possible.
like the Yankees have like multiple pitchers taken every year. And they generally send these dudes to the Arizona Fall League, and then they go in the Rule 5 draft. I'm curious to see there. Like, I know the White Sox basically have all of their scouts and all of their people like in Arizona right now, and Gene Watson specifically loves the or the Arizona Fall League and basically sits on it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they pick somebody that played in the AFL. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know. I always kind of like the Rule 5 draft, even though the White Sox had never really done very much in it, like up until this past season.
Yeah, they've never done anything that's been groundbreaking anyway. There's been a couple of guys who more or less ended up just getting sent back more for the most
Yeah.
part.
In the preview too, I included the two guys that they got from the Rays. So Duncan Davitt and Ben Peoples. They're both Rule 5 eligible as well. I don't think either of those guys gets protected, but I included them in the section that was like guys who could potentially get taken. Um And then I briefly touched on Sammy Zavala. Kind of a big bounce back year for Samuel Zavala. Um,
Yep.
and I think he'll go to Birmingham potentially, and we'll see how that goes. But I mean, nobody can roster him in the big leagues like that. That's just the ones like this are like kind of crazy when people worry about position player who struggled in Winston Salem and then finally figured it out. Like he can't you can't get by with him on a big league bench. So I think he's pretty safe.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't think that it's worth. It's certainly not worth a 40-man spot at this point. And
TJ asked that question about Jared Kelly. So no, that's
yep,
like not how it works. Like
yeah,
so like with the ones like Jared Kelly, are they safe if they promoted him to the Knights? No. He's Rule 5 eligible because he's been in a system for 5 years. But essentially what that means is like you're not gonna lose him necessarily. Um he would just stay in your minor league system. What, and then it's 7 years they can elect free agency? He hasn't
I
been
think
in for
it's
7 years yet.
yeah, I think it's like 2 more years that he has that he could stay, but he is Rule 5 eligible. So unless he gets put on the 40-man, somebody can grab him unless we put him on the 40-man. But the caveat being that if they do take him, they have to put him on their 26-man roster.
Right. And
Uh,
it's just probably not gonna happen.
Yeah. Now the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft, they have to be on either the Double A or the Triple A roster. I think there are two separate rounds of the Rule 5 minor league phase. If I remember correctly, it's
Yeah.
Triple A and Double A. So Triple A, they have to be on the Triple A phase. They have to be on the Triple A roster. If they're not on the Triple A roster, then you can take them. And then there's the Double A, like the Double A and below, which
Yeah,
they
it's
have to be on the
it's
Double A, or which is how we got a couple of guys here in the recently.
Well, so a guy like Andrew Dahlquist, right? Like I put him in my article because he's Rule 5 eligible, but he was in the org for 7 years and just elected free agency, right? He like
Yes, he
elected
did.
minor league free agency. So, like for a guy like him, like if he doesn't think there's a future here, then yeah, like he should go sign somewhere where he thinks he might run into a potential big league relief role at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I always he's a super nice guy. Just like if he elected free agency, and if he ends up not re-signing with the White Sox, I totally get it. It's like this is a tough road for him to hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know that there's a way to the major leagues for an Andrew Dahlquist with the White Sox. There's just too many guys ahead of him that I think have better stuff and have put up better numbers up until this point. So I kind of think that that's probably gone.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, that was interesting. I mean, you see him and DJ Gladney, and then you realize they've been in the system for 7 years. It's like, holy smokes, man! That was crazy.
It is. It's pretty bizarre when you look back, when you look at this, these guys leave and you're just like, "Holy cow, how's that guy been here that long?"
Yeah, for a long time, and they're high
That
school picks.
that he
So,
just gets to walk,
yeah.
It's like,
So I'm going to answer
yeah.
Adrian really quick. So is there anybody eligible for the Rule 5 from other teams that you guys want the Sox to pick? I can't really do that until I see who's been protected. So after that deadline, Baseball America, other publications like them, like us, whatever, will be like, ooh, these are the interesting guys that were left off. Then I can probably give you an answer, and I'll write a preview like I did last year. And, like right away, Shane Smith was one of the guys I highlighted last year. I didn't know that the White Sox would be interested in him, but I mean, like, look, like when you start reading these bios of the guys that are available, it wasn't really that difficult, to figure out that Shane Smith was probably going to be like one of the top guys taken, and the Sox happen to have the first pick. They have the second pick this time, so they basically should have their pick of whoever they want,
Yeah.
unless the
West Gath.
Colorado Rockies take them, and we'll get into the Rockies in a minute.
Are we going to get into the Colorado Rockies?
I need to.
Okay.
Because they hired Peter Brand as their president of baseball operations.
True. When is that draft? That's
the Rule 5 is the Wednesday of the winter
December-
meetings.
Yeah, it's like December 10th or something,
10th.
or 15th or something.
Yeah.
like
So
that.
here's the thing. Like we'll probably go live. So I think the draft lottery is the Tuesday, and if they get like the 6th pick or something, we're gonna be so mad that we're not gonna care about the Rule 5 draft. So
yeah,
it's like, well, at least we picked second in tomorrow's Rule 5 draft.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's one good thing, right? So yeah, as mentioned in by Baseball here, the bases are loaded for Sam Antonacci.
He'll get hit by a pitch.
Hey, I mean, it's an RBI, right?
Yeah.
Take it.
Have we had recent draft scouting reports been more correct than that guy's that people told us than say like Sam Antonacci?
No,
it's like
exactly
what was described. Like, yeah.
I will say this though, we get scouting report, like we see scouting reports, but the thing is that it's just sometimes guys just don't realize that potential, right?
Yeah.
And he is. So,
well, I know Kevin Burrell's the area scout in Georgia that I know a little bit. Everything he's ever told me about him is like, oh yeah, I get it. I see it now. Like this is like he's the perfect Coastal Carolina guy. He's just a pain. And did I think he was going to be like a top 10 prospect in the White Sox system like the year after his draft year? I did not, but but he's done it cuz he's just been awesome.
Yeah, I mean the guy is just he's a gamer. He just took a 4-pitch walk.
Yeah.
Guy always on base. Always on base.
And it's the right attitude too. The stuff that he says is like the stuff that your baseball rats like fall in love with, right? Where he's like doesn't care about his numbers or whatever. It's just all about helping the team, get on base whenever I can. And he knows like that's his path to the big leagues basically, and then he'll do whatever to stay there once he gets there.
Yeah. I mean, he's just as they say, he is a dirt bag.
Yes.
Dude loves baseball and pays attention.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a chance they trade some of the fringe 40-man guys. I mean, like the thing is, they have some like guys. So you can look at the 40-man, and I think a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that guy, you can discard him. You can discard him." Like, so I would look at like Cam Booser, right? Or who's the other Gilbert? Who's the other lefty there? Tyler Gilbert, right?
Tyler Gilbert,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I could see where you would look at the 40-man and be like, "Oh, like those guys have options though and years of control." So I feel like those aren't the first type of guys to go. You have a bunch of guys on there like that, right? Like I think they'd be more likely to DFA or send like a Jairo Iriarte somewhere. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing, I'm also, we didn't talk about this, I'm a little worried about Tim Elko. Like just his roster status and like whether you can carry him, if you can carry him injured or not. You know what
I
I
mean, he's
mean?
gone for this entire next year.
That's what I mean. Like,
There's
like, so you can 60-day him once the season starts, right? But can you carry him until that point? Like, I don't know that you can. And if they were to do the whole thing where they DFA'd him or released him or whatever, like this like really sucks for him, but it's like it's not like somebody else is gonna pick him up, right? Like and put him on their 40. They probably won't. So I feel like that move could happen at some point where it's just like they do the thing where it's like, oh, Tim Elko's released and everybody gets mad. And then he signs like a new minor league deal to stay with the team and like rehab or whatever, just to like clear the roster spot. I don't know. We'll see. That sucks though that he's hurt again.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that it's the same knee, and I don't know exactly when it happened, but judging by how he looked over the last like 2 months of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if he was playing on it for a while.
Well, he played on it to win a College World Series.
Exactly my point is that he played for like 2 months with it torn the first time, so
he did.
I would 100% not be surprised if he did that this time as well.
Yeah,
and it's
totally.
unfortunate.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So what did you think? Did anything stand out to you about some of these funky manager hires? Like maybe the Nats one, like the like.
I was surprised. I was surprised by that. I was surprised by the Padres.
Oh yeah, that one's probably the most surprising to me.
I mean, there's a couple like the Angels. I wasn't really too
so don't both of those scream like those two GMs think with a bad year they're fired anyway, so like they just put their friend in the dugout?
I mean, yeah, I mean it could be.
Because
I wouldn't be surprised.
Suzuki was working for them in like an advisory role, right? So if Perry Manassian's like, you know what, you're gonna take this for a year and then we're both gonna get fired because our owner's crazy. Like I could see, and then even in San Diego, like AJ Preller is, I don't want to say that he's like on the hot seat necessarily, but like they're going to lose a ton and they don't have a ton of money to spend. So like I could see that too, where it's just like the Padres underachieve. You're going to have like a fairly significant lockout and like Preller and the manager are gone and they just like hire a new president next year. Like those two spots are weird.
Yeah, I mean Colorado is just no matter what. I mean, what a train wreck.
Yeah. And everybody that works for the Nats now is like 35 or under.
Yeah.
Like their president, cool. Yeah, their president of baseball ops is 35. He was an assistant GM in Boston, and I didn't know a ton about Paul Taboni, but it seems like he was going to be the next guy somewhere, like he was going to get one of these jobs, but then he went and plucked a guy that's like in his early 30s, and then they hire, is it Blake? I think Blake Butera, who I believe is the brother of Drew Butera.
Yeah.
Who's 33, and he was like working in PD with the Rays.
Yeah, I don't know. I got, you know what? After seeing these hires, nothing has made me happier than the fact that we got Will Venable last year.
Yeah, like the White Sox went out and got like the top guy on the market. They like hired Will Venable. It was crazy, right?
If we had hired some of these guys that have been announced this last year, like this last like month here, I would be inconsolable for a couple of them.
Well, and then Vitello, we didn't even really talk that much about Tony Vitello, but people kind of asked me, like, that's a bigger risk for the Giants than it is Vitello, in my opinion. Because, like, what does he care? Like, he becomes, like, the first guy to do that, basically, in a while, and if it fails, like, he'll just get whatever big SEC jobs open, like, in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, he'll just it's not Tennessee, so, like, maybe that, like, offends Tennessee fans, right? But if this, like, doesn't work in San Francisco, like, he could just go be the Vanderbilt coach and, like, do the same thing he just did. Like, it's a no-brainer for him.
Yeah, for him, it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, he didn't get much of a raise, really.
No,
Um,
no, not at all.
so, but he gets to go and do it at the at the highest level. And if it doesn't work for him, it's just like a not even really a gamble. It's just hey, I'm going to do this. And if it doesn't happen, like he goes back and does whatever he wants to do. And if Tennessee's bad, maybe they even take him back in 2 years when they fire the guy
Yeah.
that they're hiring right now. Who knows?
Well, the thing that I found the most interesting was that there wasn't, like, some connection between him and Buster. I just assumed that him and Buster Posey knew each other. They didn't really.
Yeah. That was the part that actually hearing that they didn't know each other was actually the most shocking thing for me, that when he got hired, that they didn't know each other.
I know. I just assumed they had some relationship, like, dating back to, like, whatever. I mean, I know San Francisco has a bunch of Tennessee players, if that matters.
I mean, I don't think it matters,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's fortuitous for them,
Right.
that they get the guy that they, by all things
Yeah.
I've heard, is that everybody loves that guy. So,
Right.
um,
So I don't know how to feel about the Rockies, because the Rockies, like, all over themselves. Like, the White Sox are not the worst organization in baseball. Like, you want to argue bottom 5, like, okay, like, I'm probably right there with, the
yeah,
Angels and whatever. Like, they had 2 finalists for this job, 2 well-respected guys. Matt Foreman, I think, who's in the Guardian front office, and then I think it's Samuel or Sawade, Amiel Sawade from the Diamondbacks, who's always
yeah,
rumored, former Theo Epstein guy. And essentially, like, they were going to hire one of them, but they were like, oh, yeah, you have to keep all these staff members that work here, that have worked here forever. And they were like, no, like, we're not going to do that.
sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then they hired Paul DePodesta, which, like, could work, honestly, but it's just wild. Like, Paul DePodesta's been working for the Browns for, like, almost a decade now, after being Billy Beane's right-hand man in Oakland during the Moneyball era. And then, he did do some good things, I guess, with Sandy Alderson with the Mets, like, more recently than that. But yeah, I mean, they hired the guy who didn't want to be in Moneyball.
Yeah, it's weird. But I mean, if you worked for Cleveland for that long,
Yeah.
you'd want to leave too.
Well, and if you're Paul DePodesta and they're like, oh, you have to keep all these people. He's like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Like, you're going to give me a president of baseball ops job? Okay, that's fine. Like, we can keep all these people. Like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because nobody else was, like, giving him that job at this stage.
I'm watching it. So I'm looking at the graphic that was just on the Fall Stars game. And in between Rhett Lauder's name, they had a dash. Like, his last name is Rhett Lauder.
Oh, interesting.
What,
I like
what are
that.
you guys doing?
But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody at this point knows, right, that that's Paul DePodesta's, like, the Jonah Hill character in Moneyball. People know that, I think. Even though he wasn't Paul DePodesta, he was whatever. Yeah,
Peter Brand.
Peter Brand. Yeah, that's Paul DePodesta in the book Moneyball. So
we had this conversation. Now, what I really want to know is, I want to know if Paul DePodesta's hands are as small as
Peter Brand
Jonah
or as
Hill's.
Jonah Hill's when he does the thing, like, yeah.
Yeah, when he's holding the baseball and you
Yeah.
look at it, it looks like a toddler's hand holding a baseball,
Mhm.
twirling it around. I want to see
Yeah.
if he's got freakishly small hands, just like that.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this hire, just because, like, I'm always fascinated by Colorado and how you, like, build a successful team there. Like, what is he going to do? Like, he's done this before. Like, I wouldn't be I don't know. Like, if you were a Rockies fan, would you be, like, freaked out, or would you be like, oh, thank God they hired, like, a professional?
Yeah, I mean, I did what he. I mean, I would say that what him and Billy Bean did was an interesting, like a pretty awesome way to work around their financial situation. So at least there's some forward thinking there.
Yeah.
Is it going to make any difference whatsoever with the Colorado Rockies situation that they have? I mean, eventually it might, but part of the problem there is that they're fighting against the elements. You know, you're
Yeah, they are, and they're a rebuilding team with a bad system who doesn't spend money. Like, their system should be better than it is, and it's not because they haven't drafted well, and like ownership wants to keep some of those people around because they've worked there forever. It's just, I don't know, it's rough, but I don't know. I don't really know any Rockies fans, or I'd ask them.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I've maybe met 2 in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So
That ballpark's awesome though. I
oh
love
yeah,
that
I
place.
love Coors. Yeah, it's a
The
great field.
the one last thing on this that I wanted to bring up is just I've seen people like put the Deshaun Watson thing on him. Like, guys, the way the NFL works, that's an ownership decision. Like,
100%.
the owner wanted Deshaun Watson and paid him a fully guaranteed. Like, Paul DePodesta, like, maybe Paul DePodesta was like, oh, yeah, we should get Deshaun Watson, right? He might have done that. I don't know. But it's not like he was the one, like, going out and trading for this guy. And, like, no, those are ownership decisions in the NFL.
For how much they spent, there's no way the owner wasn't like pushing that.
100%. That's the
was
way
like,
this goes.
you do whatever you got to do to make this happen. And he said, okay.
Yeah, because I don't know if
You
you
know?
remember at the time, like the rumor was that he was like about to be traded to the Falcons because he didn't want to go to Cleveland. And then Cleveland gave him a fully guaranteed contract, which isn't a thing in the NFL. And he was like, you know what? I'll go to Cleveland. That's fine.
Yeah. Oof. All right. So I wanted to bring up one more thing that we're going to talk about, but we hadn't talked about. Martin Perez declines his mutual option.
Not
so, no. Do you think he comes back? Now, I know he declined the mutual option, but that normally happens from one side or the other.
I don't know. I feel like they can maybe do better than that, can't they? I just don't know that I trust that he's going to like be able to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, he missed 2.5 months. I mean, granted, he fought to come back.
Oh yeah,
fairly quickly, and I wasn't mad about that, and he pitched pretty well, for the most part. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll be back. My guess is they go with a Martin Perez like a similar guy to pitch in the rotation, but they'll have at least one veteran in that rotation.
Do you think that I know that there's been some mentions of guys coming back from the NPB or the KBO?
Oh yeah,
rather.
Cody Ponce.
Yeah, do you see that? Obviously the White Sox have done it in the past with I don't know, fairly good results. I mean, they got some stuff out of the trades on the way out.
I mean, would you bring back Eric Fetty? Like just the actual guy that you did it with?
The actual one.
Yeah, I mean, he was like way worse when he left the White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, you got like the one thing there is that he's 2 years older than he was when he was here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we find out the White Sox are actually interested in Cody Ponce, like, okay, like that's fine. I mean, he was a Brewer, so they have guys that know him. That's for sure, right? Like it seems like they've been taking a lot of Walker McKinven's recommendations. It seems. So yeah, like I don't think I've actually seen somewhere where the White Sox are actually linked to him. It was more so like I know MLB Trade Rumors did it, but it was kind of like, oh, he won't be that expensive, and they did it with Eric Fetty type of thing, more so than they've been scouting Cody Ponce. Like I don't really know that.
Yeah, the one that and this is mentioned in the comments here by Kev, Giolito mentioned it. I mean, like
it's gonna
Giolito coming back.
I mean,
that's kind of weird, huh?
I take Giolito back, but it's gonna be too much money. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like Giolito can go out and get like 2 years and $35 million from somebody probably.
Yeah, and I mean now that he's healthy again.
Yeah. I don't know.
His like I made fun of him in one tweet at one point just because he was having like a a rough go of it for a couple of starts, but then he really turned it on towards the end of the season, and he looked pretty good. Does he come back without Katz being here?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
guess as well.
my guess is no.
Even if the money was,
yeah, he'll probably go back to California if he can. I think Giants are a good fit for him. Go pitch in that huge ballpark.
yeah, the big ballpark would probably help him out a bit. He's always wanted to be a Dodger, though.
Yep, I know.
Clayton Kershaw's gone.
I know. So just really quick, so we kept being asked about this like Cleveland Guardians thing.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a mess. Like those dudes are never going to pitch in Major League Baseball again, nor should they. Like it's really simple, and I think like I keep hearing like, oh well, like you get in bed with gambling. This is what like it's really simple to me. Like, don't bet on the sport you play. Done. You're done. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised because as people have mentioned, you get in with this, you get into this whole thing with, every other commercial is a sports betting commercial. You can't be surprised when this stuff happens. But on the other hand,
I'm surprised they thought
better.
I'm surprised they thought they could get away with it. Like these companies like know everything. Like it's you're gonna get flagged and you're gonna get caught. Like it's like not something that especially when like that much money is involved, and they didn't make any money off it. It's like the whole thing's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But I mean, look, like I don't really think that like a Major League Baseball player shouldn't be able to like run a couple of like NFL parlays if they want, like on a Sunday, like the rest of the world can. Like I don't really think that's that big of a deal. But like, yeah, you can't bet on baseball. You're a baseball player. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. It's and like the funny thing is that like they did it for
$5,000
peanuts. Like
Yeah.
like if you're risking your livelihood, you figure that, they would do it for, I don't know, like at least 5-6 figures.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to make a bunch of money off of it, I mean, holy cow.
Yeah. It was clearly like for whatever reason they did it so like they could make other people like a whole bunch of money. But I don't know, man. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, me either. I'm gonna bring something up here real quick. Just something stupid that made me laugh a whole bunch today. It's gonna take me 1 second to bring that up here.
Yeah, Tom said if they can get Jose Rodriguez, they can get you. Yeah, well, like there is that.
There it is. Aram Layton from Just Baseball posted this earlier today, and I was cracking up. So I figured I would go ahead and bring this up just so everybody else could see it. There it is. That is how I feel about that whole thing.
Right. Yes.
It's so dumb.
It's very funny. Yes.
Yeah.
For those listening, it's the the meme of the guy who's like looking at the girl walking by as he's like presumably like with his girlfriend or significant other, and it says making millions legally, making thousands illegally. Really sums it up nicely.
Yeah, that's so dumb. I just don't get it. But hey, and like the funny thing is that it's like it was just like they would make a couple of pitches, and it
they
wouldn't
throw a
even
ball in
be
the dirt or whatever. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they probably rationalized it to themselves where they were like, "Are they gonna know if I throw? I mean, how are they gonna know if I just throw a ball that's like a foot inside? How are they gonna know that that's me throwing it?
Well, they're gonna know when $50,000 was bet on it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that college coach at who was it? Was it Alabama? The baseball coach at Alabama?
Yeah, where he was like giving his buddies like intel or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, well he went to the casino and placed bets himself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
total dodo bird.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That's you on camera, sir. It's like that's not me.
Yeah.
It's like the old Eddie Murphy skit. Wasn't me.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, coach? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, anywho. there's that. I'm trying to remember what else I had here. I had something that I was going to bring up, and now I'm completely spacing it. And I mean, we're at an hour and 10 minutes right
Yeah,
now,
we're way over.
so
So
yeah, we're way over. So you want me to walk us out here,
Yeah.
unless anybody's got like something crazy that they any crazy questions?
no, I think it's time. We'll be back next. I mean, obviously, GM meetings are this week, so I'm sure. Like, I don't know that anything will actually happen, but you'll have quotes and interviews and stuff. So
Yeah, probably not. And I think next week, I think we're going to switch to the winter meetings back around with the snow. It's about that time.
alrighty, yes.
Yeah. All right, so
Falling
I'm going to go
over.
ahead and walk us out. I got nothing to say to you, Coach, about that. You have been watching / listening to the Future Sox podcast. If you are listening to this in podcast form, know that you can find us every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and the Purple app. You can also find this podcast along with all of our written content at FutureSox.net. The Future Sox podcast is a partner in the Just Baseball Media Corporation. If you are looking for White Sox prospect highlights, you can now find them on X at Future Sox, and now also here on our YouTube channel. If you love the content and want to support us here at Future Sox, there is a link to our Patreon in our channel description and at FutureSox.net. You can also toss up a super chat on our YouTube stream. Also, don't forget to like this stream and subscribe with notifications so you know when we're going live while helping us in the World Wide Web algorithms. My name is Ian Eskridge at Daily White Sox. He's James Fox at James Fox 917. We appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks to our guest, Mark Gonzales. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hopping in and hanging out in the chat. We will talk with you guys next week. Have a great one. We'll see you then. Thanks.